Hello, and welcome to the Collaboration Conversation, a listener-supported video podcast where Christian artists, entrepreneurs, and friends share about their upcoming projects and how they are using the gifts and talents that God has given them. This podcast is only made possible through generous listeners and friends like you, and we are so very grateful for all of our supporters. If you would like to sponsor an episode, head on over to thecollaborationconversation.org and click Sponsor an Episode. Likewise, if you want to check out or support our nonprofit ministry Project Brickworks, head over to projectbrickworks.org. Today, our very special guest is David Svenson. David is a camera operator, a SteadiCam Op, and a director of photography. And we met on the set of a faith-based film that we shot earlier this year just outside of Atlanta. I was only on set for a couple of days, but I could tell just what an amazing person David was, and I knew we had to have him on the podcast. So David shoots for Fox Sports as well as the Kendrick brothers. He teaches SteadiCam workshops as well, and he just has such a great story, and we are so excited to share it with you today. David, thank you so much for being here.
It is super cool to be here. I've seen a couple of these, listened to a number of them, and they're awesome, and I'm honored to sit here and hang out with you.
Well, we are so excited. I mean, as soon as I saw you at the Christian Worldview Film Festival, I was like, Mom, ask him. We have to have him on the podcast. Ask him right now.
Well, and I'd already heard about you. I mean, she came back, oh, I met the nicest person, blah, 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 blah.
Well, what was interesting was she actually came with me.
Oh, that's true.
To film those few days, just as like a girls' trip. You just never know. And so we just, I didn't know how long I was going to be on set. So we just had a nice debriefing at the end of each day. And I was like, there's this one guy and he's so nice and he just makes everything better. Anyway, it was awesome.
Yep.
Well, that is such a fun part of what we do is not only seeing people that we see every day. If you're shooting for whether it's 17 days or 38 days, you get to either see people every day or you get to see people that you just run across a time or two. And when you see people, and yes, ma'am, I point at you in the green. Once you come across people who have such a joy about them and have such a, I mean, you came in that day. I think we were shooting in the hospital scene or something, and I think that was where we saw you first, and you were a pro, but a pro with a hey, I'm here to have some fun edge to you, which was kind of awesome.
Yeah.
So it made us. It just engaged us with you to have a good time with you. So. Thank you for being you, which of course in turn leads us to do the reciprocation of that. So that was cool.
Well, thank you so much. It was such a good time. I had such a blast.
You really did.
It was so much fun. Well, we got to chat with you at the Christian Worldview Film Festival in August, which was great. And I just wanted to, so we know you a little bit, but we would love to hear a little bit more about your story and your family. So if you wouldn't mind sharing with us about that.
Yeah, I am a longtime North Carolina guy. Grew up here, and when my folks were in the retail book business, and when I was about 8 years old, they came home one day and said, "Hey, we're got to go do our holiday advertising at the TV station." And when I say holiday advertising for a TV station in the 1970s for a bookstore, that's a tabletop bookshop, maybe on a dolly.
Maybe on a dolly.
Really crazy. It might they might move the camera or push in on it a little bit.
That is
crazy.
So funny.
But at 8 years old, I walk in the door and the studio doors open up, and I'm looking at the camera folks and the lighting folks and the audio and the director and the producer, and I'm like, what in the this is when I watch TV, this is how it happens. So it was like this. So from the time I was like 8 till 15. My father and mother doing advertising for radio, for TV, whatever. They would literally show up at their sales meeting with people and go, "Hey, let's talk. Where are we going to place ad sales and blah blah blah? What packages are we going to do?" And by the way, is there anything my son can volunteer for anytime? So I literally they would take me places, drop me off, and I would be in the back going, "What are you doing right when you do that? What are you doing? Can I help you carry that? Does that trash need to be taken out? Does that need to be swept up? Can I carry that sandbag? Can I carry that C-stand?" I mean, it was whatever. So it was fun. And so me having that experience, and it was telethons, it was radio live blurbs, things like that. But it's kept me intrigued. And when the turning point was with a group was with a company called Walter J. Klein based in Charlotte at the time. And I was 15. I was sitting in a drama class in high school, and my drama teacher, Deb Curl, was we were writing some paper on some play we had seen, and I'm at the pencil sharpener, like, what am I going to write about next? And producer Kelly Ryan from this Walter J. Klein company comes in, and starts talking to Miss Curl about, hey, we're doing this kidney organ donation film. It's an industrial film company, and we're doing this kidney organ donation film, and we need a kid to play the child who doesn't make it through a car accident, and how this is telling the story of how people could donate organs. I mean, it's what the gist of the story was. And I'm like,
pick me. Me?
Do you need a guy? I'll be that guy. So when I wasn't lying on a gurney playing a kid out of a car accident, my head would pop up and they'd say cut, and I'd be looking at the camera guys and the lighting folks, and I was hooked.
Oh my gosh.
And so that led to that producer drove me home. We did shot overnights because you can't shoot in a hospital during the day because heaven forbid people are working. So we were in like this in this industrial care location, and she was driving me home that early that morning. She said, "Do you have any questions about what we've just done or anything that we can be doing to help you out?" And I was like, I just want to be a part of what y'all do. How do I do it? How can I continue to learn? How can I continue to volunteer? I'll do whatever. I just want to learn. So until I got out of high school, I worked there. That went on to doing a coaches show at the University of North Carolina. At that time, it was the Mac Brown and Dean Smith coaches shows. And
that's awesome.
So it was shooting player interviews. It was shooting game footage. It was learning the production element, and at the same time getting a chance to go out and shoot the sports element. So it was a great, cool learning environment for me. So I loved it. That led to a job at a TV station. The TV station, my favorite Christmas card I write every year is to a gentleman by the name of Bob Morris, who was my boss at WBTV in Charlotte. And he was so cool. We sat in we all have our reviews. And I was sitting in my review, and he said, "What are you liking? What are you not liking? What can we be doing to make your experience here better? How can we get better usage out of you?" Was that back and forth? And he was kind and cool enough to listen to me and say, "I know this kid wants to get out of just doing studio work. He wants to get out and do things." And he called me back into his office a couple of weeks later and said, "Hey, I was called by an ad agency. They are looking for somebody to shoot commercials. They are low budget commercials, but if you are looking to do this and get into this may be an amazing place for you to learn." And
wow.
I still write that guy Christmas cards every year saying, "I would not be doing what I'm doing today if it wasn't for you." So
what a great leader.
And just the fact that he listened, he could have been like so many people, like we all could be. When we see people that we have the opportunity to mentor or lead or be good to in any shape or form, he was a guy who, instead of just checking a box, this is what I need, he was listening to other people, and he put an ear out and said, "How can I help you?" And it was super cool.
What a good dude.
Oh my gosh, guy, he's awesome, amazing man. So that led to the ad agency. Shot there for a couple of years, and here's where the freelancing thing comes in. If you work somewhere long enough full time doing what we do, and you start freelancing on the side, there's going to come a time that you have to say, 9 to 5 paycheck, freelancing, this is what I want to be doing. And there comes a time where you have to jump off the edge of the cliff and take the dive and take the plunge. And so that was 25 years ago. Did I just date myself? I think I just dated
Yes,
myself.
you did.
No, but that was 25 years ago. I have been super blessed to work with a lot of great, I started out wanting to do, I've always wanted to do narrative stuff ever since, lying on that gurney in that, in that industrial film. I've always wanted to do that, but our market didn't offer as many opportunities in that ballpark. So I wound up getting into the television and doing commercials and doing sit-down interviews and anything where I could continue to grow and learn how to light better and do things more efficiently and learn communication skills better and how to serve people. And that led to some bigger commercials, and then that led to some opportunities on some episodic stuff, which led to some feature opportunities. I've been super crazy blessed to do something I love doing.
That's awesome. And as a freelancer, freelancing is so hard.
At
least it can be.
Yeah, it can be. If you or your spouse or your family likes having a paycheck on their doorstep, it will keep you knocking on some doors. And I tell you, but the coolest thing about freelancing is, or not the coolest thing, there are hundreds of cool things. But one of the important things that I always think about when I'm driving into work on any given day is today is my last opportunity to get a job for tomorrow, because everybody is looking at you every single day. And if I don't put forth my best effort today, I might not get that job tomorrow, because I may run across somebody who's never met me before today on any given shoot, that is either going to say, hey, that guy was really good, or it was all right, but Bob's better, Frank's better. Dan's available. You don't need to call that Svenson guy.
Right.
But, it really makes you freelancing makes you put your best foot forward every single day.
That's so true.
And, that's a blessing in itself.
Yeah.
To make sure that you are being the best person you can be every day.
Oh, amen. And then I was also thinking, as you were talking about that, I also feel like freelancing is a good faith, what's the word? Faith job. Like, I knock on doors, like you just knock, and you have to be okay with closed doors, and like you have to be okay that God's closing the doors that you're not supposed to walk through. And sometimes that can be painful. Sometimes that can be not great emotionally or financially. Anyway, so I just was thinking about that. That was a big hurdle for me when I made that dive, so to speak, from full-time work to freelancing, is just like being okay with knocking on doors and them not being opened, and like just trusting that God's going to lead where I need to go. So that's honestly another really cool part about freelancing that I really like. It was hard at first, but I really like it now.
Well, so I just want to clarify, because I don't know your story as well as Sarah does, but I feel like that race car picture behind you has something to do with an important part of your life.
Well, if you would have asked me, okay, that is a race car. That is a three-themed picture that we use as a set prop. It was for a Dale Jr. interview, and when coming to you live from David Svenson's home playroom this afternoon on our podcast. When we were looking for things to throw up on the walls in the playroom, and these had been sitting down in the dust this had to have been 8, 9, 10 years ago.
Wow.
Many years ago this race was. But we use this as a background for one of our. Yes, you're segueing me into something NASCAR related, because I've been super blessed to do a particular job for about 10, coming up on the end of 11 years now.
Wow.
Nice.
Being in television, being in the television film ping ponging side of that, which fence are you on the day world that I live in. We do a lot of television, and it's a lot of sports television. And I'm from just outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. What's in Charlotte? There's a lot of NASCAR.
There's a lot of NASCAR.
Teams are based here. So, formerly known as Speed Channel, almost 20 years ago, came to Charlotte. When they transitioned to Fox Sports, those two worlds blended together. We had been doing a lot of stuff with the Speed Channel guys and doing a show called Race Hub, which is a weekly, it's a daily, 4 days a week race program that Fox Sports does. And we are the guys, we jokingly call ourselves the earlier this week guys. We're that when they do all the stuff that you see in the studio, when they say, hey, and earlier this week we caught up with Joey Logano to talk about the something, we're the guys who go and shoot those features. And I worked with an amazing guy named Jim Kenny, who has been doing this job with me for 10 years, and we are led by an amazing. And this is so important, because when you're a freelancer, you have to. You can't get somebody mad about something that you're doing to go do something else, especially when you know what's really important and what's paying your power bill. And the folks at Fox, we are led by a great lady by the name of Lindsay Mandia, who just is such a blessing to me in the fact that she allows me, when I come to her at some point, maybe a couple times a year, and I say, I've got a really neat opportunity to go expand my horizons, learn more, and come back and be better for you. And she's a great lady, and she allows me to do it.
That's awesome.
And, that's so cool.
She's on my Christmas card list too, as if you can't tell. And
as she should be.
Because because she and the whole team over there allow me to break away and do something that is my passion, which is the narrative element of what we do, not just the television element. And it's been a great 11-year run, and it's been super cool. And she is super gracious to allow me to go off and do things that fill my heart, which is cool.
Yeah,
That is so amazing.
that's awesome.
Props to her. But also, I think a big part of the reason why she is so able to do that and trust you to do that is because of your work ethic and kind of your heart around that. For you to say, I'm going to go do this thing, but I'm going to come back to you better because I'm going to go learn. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. There's a posture that you are presenting there that I feel like probably gives her peace about letting you go do those things. You know what I mean? I think that's twofold, two-sided as well.
I agree.
Yeah. Cool. Well, what about your family? I see your beautiful family up on the wall. Tell me about your family.
Don't look too closely, because that picture's from like 9 years.
Oh, that's funny.
Ty, I can only tell because of Ty being so young. But Ty's our youngest, and he's now 11. He was probably 6 in that picture or whatever.
Okay.
Oh, but that's funny.
I live in a little town outside of Charlotte, and met a wonderful, amazing young lady in 2000, in March of 2000. And what was one of the amazingly cool things about her is, in my walk with the Lord at that time, didn't have a crazy great foundation, and she amazingly patiently planted seeds that has led to where I am in my walk today. And yet again, super grateful to her for seeing something in me that said, that guy doesn't really know yet, but I think he's gonna. I might hang out with him for another couple.
Yeah, that's right.
I might hang out with him for another couple of weeks and see what happens.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And that was, we got married in 2002, had our first youngster in 2003, and Abigail's our oldest, Honor is our middle, and they are 18, 16, and 11 now. So 11 going on 22.
11 going on 22. It's right. I love that.
Well, and 18, that means somebody's going off to college next year?
Yes. Abigail is doing a really cool, she is a great athlete. And she, with the COVID year of 2020, she got put in a situation where I think in her senior year of basketball, she had 8 games. I mean, they would do a couple games, and then somebody on the team or somebody on the opposing team or something would, and they would shut the team down for 2 weeks, and then they wouldn't be able to practice. They wouldn't be able to, So we all experienced it in some form or another. So what's cool is she's getting an opportunity now. She got accepted into the university of her choice last year, but a couple weeks after that, somebody, a coach of hers on a travel team, came to her and said, "Hey, I have an opportunity that you may want to explore. I'm starting an academy where we can get people to play more basketball. You can start your college. It's like basically a postgraduate basketball situation where she's able to, now she's practicing 5 days a week. She went and got a job to help pay for this academy. She is playing basketball, and it's her opportunity to maybe get a chance to go play basketball someplace in college. But she and all of us here at the Svenson household know that whatever happens, it's who she is as a person, not that she scores baskets on the court.
Yeah.
And that she's got a really great look at it and a viewpoint on it. And if it works out, awesome. But she also knows that, hey, if it doesn't, I did not want to not try.
Oh,
yeah,
definitely.
She's in a really cool place. She's
amazing.
She's a great young lady.
Oh, that's awesome.
I love that. The pandemic was so difficult for so many people, but there are things that got we rethought things. Like, at least in Tennessee, if you don't go to college that first year, there's a possibility that you could lose the academic scholarship that the state offers. So I don't know if it's that way for Georgia, but
North Carolina.
I'm sorry, for North Carolina.
Yeah,
Sorry, I was thinking Atlanta.
Yes, I know.
Sorry.
Exactly.
Anyway, but just that idea of let's try this first, or let's what are some new? I just think we're thinking outside the box sometimes. So
yeah,
I love that.
Because when we were growing up, it was either you go to college or you go do something else. I mean, there was no.
Yeah.
Now at least there are options.
Yeah. I like that
for sure.
So have you ever you guys ever talked about that you went to college in North Carolina?
We did.
Okay.
We did.
The first person, I think, for me to say that I went to college in Salisbury, and then he was like, "Oh, Catawba," and I was like,
yeah,
"What?"
He knows.
I was like, "Yes."
What?
How did you know the name? I think he was the first person to ever actually know the name of the college, which was crazy.
Okay, good.
That was cool.
Yeah. So one of our married into folks in my wife's family is a Catawba guy. So I know all about Catawba. We've actually shot a movie just real close to Catawba. In fact, I think we probably shot some of the scenes on their campus. But yeah, it's a beautiful, cool, tucked away campus right outside of Salisbury. It's great.
It was such a God thing for me to go there. I didn't end up graduating from there. I ended up transferring, but I was supposed to be there for a little bit, and it's so beautiful. Anyway, shout out to Catawba College. Although I will say on the pronunciation, I remember when I got in, we didn't know how to pronounce it. And so, like, we don't have a Catawba, like you guys have a Catawba County and things like a river, things like that. And so we didn't know how to pronounce it. And I remember we called after hours so that we would get the voicemail of the admissions office. And we would listen to the voicemail. You've reached the admissions office of Catawba College. Catawba. It's Catawba. That's how you say it.
Whew, got that one out of the way.
That was funny. Well, as you know, our podcast is all about talents and gifts. We believe that God has given each of us unique talents and giftings, and that with that comes responsibility to use those talents and gifts to share the good news of Jesus. And we love helping folks discover what their talents and gifts are if they don't know what that is. That's part of what our ministry does. But on the podcast, we usually talk to folks who kind of are already a bit in tune with that. And we hope that it inspires folks to get in tune with theirs and to, again, build their brick using those talents in collaboration with God as he builds his kingdom. And so we would love to ask you what you feel like your talents and gifts are. I feel like I know what some of your talents and gifts are just from knowing you for the short while that I have known you, but I'd like to hear from you first what you think that they are.
Well, I will follow up and say, what did you think they were? By the way, this element of your show is such a cool element of what y'all do. So thank you for creating an environment to help people not only explore those, but if they don't know what they are, to help them find out what they are. That whole thing you just said is so neatly and coolly important.
Thank you.
By the way, I think I just made that word up.
Coolly important.
But coolly important, dude.
I like it.
But if you were to, but the good thing is I say that, I tee that up saying, it took me a long time to figure out what those were, and I'm still trying to make sure that I think that these are what they are.
Yeah.
But if someone were to ask me, I would have to say that serving people and encouraging people, and just seeing where they are, wherever they are wherever they are on their path in life, to just encourage them and serve them where they are, and to be a friendly face and somebody to lighten their day, or just be a positive influence for them. It is so easy. It would be and is so easy to get discouraged today. And there are people around us, all around us, who are somebody may be discouraged or left out or facing all kinds of challenges at home or at work or in their personal lives in some capacity. And it could be financial, it could be family, it could be work, it could be anything. But if we as coworkers, as friends, as somebody just bumps into somebody in some way, can see that in somebody, and even if it's just saying a kind word, putting a hand on somebody's shoulder and saying, hey, what's up? What can I do for you today? How are you? How can I be praying for you? And even if it's just lending an ear praying for somebody, it is such a huge, I've had way too many great people in my life be that person for me that has made me not want to do that for somebody else. And that's kind of where that kind of has gone for me.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Well, and I know you're going to name name some
Sure.
things, but one of the first things that came to mind, even when you were 8 and then 15, was service.
Yeah.
Just the idea of
A
what
very
can I do?
servant's heart
Can
oriented.
I carry that for you?
Yeah.
Did you need me to take out the trash? Just being of service to somebody is such a blessing.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I've witnessed your encouragement firsthand. Walking on set prepared. The worst thing you can do is come in not prepared. So I was prepared. So I wasn't nervous from like, am I going to be able to do my job kind of way? But I was nervous because I didn't know anybody. This wasn't I got it because I knew somebody. I really genuinely knew nobody on set. And and
wasn't it kind of late in the filming?
And it was late in filming, so everybody had kind of this rapport already. And I wasn't there for very long. It was a day player kind of a situation. And so, you want to go in, you don't want to distract, you don't want to take any attention away, but you also want to be a light. Because I have that, I would say that you and I share that, where like I would like to go in and be a light to somebody if I have the opportunity. But again, it was a huge set, and I don't know, you just were totally that for me. So I want to affirm that. But then also, it kind of goes hand in hand with both of those, but you're very generous. You're very generous with your time, with your attention, with your emotions, and just like the way that you, I don't know, you're very engaging, and in the way that you, when you encourage people, you can tell it's not just, I don't know. It's for them. It's not for you. I don't know if that makes sense.
Oh, it's very sincere.
It's very sincere.
Yeah.
And you're just a very generous person. And then you're a very good communicator.
Amen.
I don't know if you know that. But you talked earlier about how you were doing jobs to get skills and learn to communicate better. And I was like, well, he did that. You're a very, very good communicator.
Check that one off.
You can check that off. And, on set, that's a huge necessity. If you're not communicating, you're slowing the set down, and we know what time means on sets. And so I just wanted to affirm the ones that you named, but then also share some of those with you, because I just think that naming it gives glory to the person who made you that way. And that's what we want to do, is we want to give God all of the glory for that. And I just can see him shining through you all the time. And then not even we haven't even mentioned the fact that you're also an incredibly talented. You're very talented at what you do. Like, obviously, you're very good at it.
Off the charts.
Yeah, off the charts good at it. And so, like, that's also a talent that he gave you that's you've uniquely given just to you, in conglomeration with all of the other gifts that we've already talked about. So anyway, I just wanted to name those for you and give God the glory in that, because he's good. He's so good.
And
we really
talk. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Talking about giving God the glory, we spoke briefly yesterday before today. And Julie and the kids and I went to a missions conference that we do every year at our church. And I was on the, back in one of the pews, jotting some notes. And what was funny was he was talking about one of the mission folks came in to speak about what they were doing. And then we just had a general service afterwards. And the woman who came in to speak was a mission young lady who had been working in the Philippines. And she was talking about how God equips each and every one of us with gifts, and it's just up to us to figure out how to use them. Mm-hmm. And that she was talking about how in Ephesians, how that God's prepared in advance things for us to do. And she just went down this whole road of tying that together with what she was doing in the Philippines. And then the gentleman who's giving the regular mission, the regular message at the service afterwards, kind of jumped on that and said that what a blessing it is for us to find out what those gifts are and to learn how we can weave those into the message. Because his message was saying, and I'm reading off notes from the eighth pew or whatever from last night, but he said, this gospel will be preached, this task will be completed. And then he went off into this thing about saying how what a blessing it is for you and I to get in on the action of helping that along, and however we can take those gifts and make that word get out there to other people around us. It was really cool. And to be sitting there listening to that, knowing that I was going to be speaking with you folks today was a fun thing.
That is awesome. I love that.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And we pray for things like we prayed yesterday or 2 days ago that that, God would be moving within the hearts of our guests that we were going to have this weekend, and that he would be preparing them to have these conversations. And so I think that's part of it. That's awesome.
And part of all of that, because that's actually one of the scriptures we use, that God has prepared
works in advance,
good works in advance for us to do. And if we don't know what our talents are, we're not going to be prepared. We're not going to be ready,
Exactly.
But if we're not all building our one brick, he didn't give you the responsibility to build 15, and you have to.
Everybody has
more.
One brick.
Everybody gets a brick, but if you're not building your brick, there's a hole in the wall, and we're talking about the kingdom of God, right?
Right.
So we just all have to be pursuing that. I love to have that.
I know.
The girl from the Philippines.
Yeah,
on the
if
show.
you remember her name, shoot me an email and tell me her name. We'd love to have her on, the missionary.
Yeah, her name is Sandra. She's been coming back for, I think this is our 17th or 18th year doing this at our church, and
oh wow,
she has been there every year.
I love it.
I see Miss Sandra once a year with her message from the Philippines. It's cool.
Oh,
that's very cool. We'll have to connect with her, because we'd love to have her on. That would be we would love that.
Oh, when you just find like-minded folks, right? You just gravitate, and when we're all in the same mission, there's just folks like at our church. I was talking a little bit about our ministry, and there are people who just don't get it.
Yeah,
and it makes me sad. I want everybody to be as happy about the talents and gifts and the life that God has given them, because it's for such a valuable, important, special purpose.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, love that.
Cool. Well, let's talk about some future work that you've got going on. We talked about the movie that we met on, which I feel like we can talk, like it's not been like formally announced, but like they talk about it at film festivals, like they'll just throw the name out. So I feel like it's okay that we talk about it.
Can we use the word? Is it a working title still, or is it?
I think it's a working title, which makes me feel like we can use it even more. Because it's a working title, or maybe we should just say an upcoming Kendrick Brothers movie. I don't know.
It's an upcoming Kendrick project, because I think they were officially on the executive producing end of this one.
Yes, that is right.
But yes, it is an upcoming project that they're doing, and it is awesome. It has such a cool story. It's just it is a true story, a real life story. And what was awesome was being on that set. I don't want to give too much away, so I won't.
Okay.
Being on that set and meeting the real people who showed up at some point, and you're like shooting something, and then you look over and cut. And you look over. Is that how they did it?
That's awesome.
It was awesome.
That is so cool. Well, I did want to ask, how did you get involved with the Kendricks? Was it through Bob?
No, in a roundabout. Yes, eventually. The answer is eventually.
Okay.
The cool story, and I will really shorten this. I won't have people falling asleep in the aisleways there. I hope. I was working on a project in Charlotte. I knew a guy who I had worked with 10 years prior or something. He came back to Charlotte, was working on a movie with a gentleman by the name of Gary Wheeler. And Gary Wheeler was directing this movie. And the guy comes in, a DP friend of mine comes in. He says, "Hey, man, you want to come work on this movie with us? We need a couple days of SteadiCam on this movie." And I'm like, "Dude, I'd love to. I hadn't seen you in 10 years. What's up? Good to see you." And when he said, we talked numbers, we talked dates, we talked all this stuff, and he literally calls me back like a day or two later. And he says, "Hey, man, would love to have you on the project, but we just can't do it." And of course, you hearing that as a freelancer, you're like, did I give him?
What did I do wrong?
Did I do something wrong? We always face this. This is a daily challenge of being a freelancer. I said, did I do something wrong? Did I price something wrong? Did I give you bad numbers? Am I just a bad guy? And he says, "No, dude, we can't even afford generators for all of our night shoots, for our lights, for all of our exteriors. We can't afford to have a SteadiCam guy come in here and be on this job, but really appreciate you. Thanks for talking with us." And I was like, "Okay, cool. If anything changes, just let me know, And I swear I'll get through this quicker. But basically, I call him back the next day or 2 days later, and I said, "Rob, the DP at the time, I said, Rob, I don't care what it is. If there are days that you need SteadiCam on that project, if you just let me know, and if I'm not booked, dude, you buy me a cheeseburger, and I'll just show up and I'll just pay for my gas, cheeseburger. Whatever, dude. I just want to see you again. And if there's something I can be doing to help you, you just let me know.
Yeah.
And who was the director on that? Gary Wheeler.
Yep.
Gary Wheeler. We worked on that one. They called me back later to do another movie later in the year or later, 6 months later, or whatever. And Gary has been instrumental in getting me to where I am and what I'm doing today, in the fact that he not only asked me to come back to do that for him, but when the Kendricks, here's where the tie comes together.
Yes.
When the Kendricks came to Concord, North Carolina to do War Room, they needed a local producer. And I don't know how that all goes down, but Gary gets on the project and they are talking about, hey, we need a couple locals. We've got our camera guy, but we need a couple locals. We may need SteadiCam a couple of days. We may need this, blah, blah, blah. And Gary goes, well, I think I have your guy. I have a guy for you, if the SteadiCam stuff. And the Kendricks being so awesome. The Kendricks, what I've loved about them is they have gone from making a movie for the body of their church to making movies for millions of people across the world. And the message is the same.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
that message that I was learning about 3-4 movies into what they were doing, when I started really learning about what they were doing, I had been praying about being on their team for years. And when Gary got in with them and said, hey, I'm into a guy, what's so cool about the Kendricks, they had a point on their website where you could go on and you could fill out an application to be on their crew, which just says so much about them.
Wow.
And that Christmas, I messed up my knee and had knee surgery. So I'm sitting in my kitchen one night, filling out, this application, hoping that nobody's going to come over in the family and ask me what I'm doing. What am I filling out? What am I doing over there? Well, I said, I just want to be a part of their team. I don't care what it is. I'll go down to Georgia. I'll just go down to Georgia and knock on their door and just volunteer to be in their camera department. I don't care what it is.
Yeah.
Because by that time, I was like, they already have their camera team. They don't need some goofball from North Carolina. So I've been filling out this application and hit send, thinking it's spitting into the wind. Nothing is ever going to come of this,
Right.
And that application must have gone into some notebook somewhere. And literally when Gary said, I got a guy for you, they said, oh, we need to do what's right and honor what we've said we're going to go do. So they start looking through this book of people that they have submitted to be on this crew. And at some point, evidently, Gary goes, that's the guy I was telling you about right there. and it so goes to show that what you do today is going to affect what opportunities you get tomorrow, who you are today, and how you treat people, how you do your work is going to either affect you in a positive way tomorrow, or it's going to affect you in a negative way.
Yep.
And so Gary jokingly at the War Room first day, we had our get together. And he tells the cheeseburger story about why this Carolina guy is here. And it was anyway, but Gary got me into being with the Kendricks. And the amazing blessing is they have continued to have me back a couple times. And that led me to my meeting to meet Bob Scott, who is their longtime cinematographer for their movies ever since Facing the Giants. Bob has not only been an amazing mentor for me business-wise and professionally, but personally. Mm-hmm. He is an amazing, outstanding gentleman that I just can't even think enough of I don't have words. Yeah. And awesome. I don't have words for the Kendricks. All three of them, Alex, Stephen, and Shannon, have been nothing but outstanding to me, and they're just wonderful people who put the message first and pray about everything and put it in the right hands.
Yeah.
And if it's in God's hands, all we can do is get out of the driver's seat and let Him drive.
Mm.
Amen.
Yes, and amen. I love that.
They're amazing folks, and they've changed my life to be to give me the opportunities to do what I love doing in an environment where I can serve and be doing something for the message is great.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
I mean, it just goes to show how much they are also using in building their brick.
Yes.
And building your brick for God's kingdom has implications on other people.
Yep.
and their ability to use their brick. And I just think that's it's awesome. God is so good.
Yeah.
Well, you also have potentially another new project coming up. Do you want to share with us a little bit about that?
Well, it's very much in the works. So
yes.
we will tread gently, if you will.
Okay. Yes.
Being a freelance camera operator, you hear about something, and then until somebody books your travel, you go, okay, great, I'd love to be a part of that. But until somebody books you or makes your plane reservation or says we start tomorrow morning at 8.
Yep.
Or 6 or whatever, you go, okay, whatever, sure.
Yeah,
whatever.
sure.
But a young lady, Bob, is looking like Bob's going to get an opportunity to do a movie with somebody that we all have in common here, Miss Alexandra Boylan and Sherry Rigby and Bob Scott, and it looks like they're working on a movie that she actually discussed briefly on her podcast of yours, which was outstanding, by the way. She has a great, cool story.
Yeah, she's awesome.
And I was, whenever I was listening to that, I listened to her talk about this potential upcoming movie. And when she told the story, I was listening. I said, "Oh, that's a really cool story. I'd love to work on something like that. In here, out here."
Yep.
And then when Bob called me and said, "Hey, there may be this thing going on. You might want to, let me tell you a little bit about what I know about it." And he started telling me briefly the story. And he got about 3 sentences in, and I was like,
wait a minute.
I know this story. I've listened to the story from this woman telling me about this movie. I'm in, dude. You just tell me how I can be a part of that.
Oh, yay.
So, and with Sherry being involved, in fact, the scenes that you and I worked on the movie to be named later.
I'm winking for those who are just listening.
She came in and worked on a couple scenes with us.
I remember that.
That hospital scene was one of the ones that you were in.
I know. I remember her directing. That was awesome. It was so, again, cool. So generous of the Kendricks and Kevin to let her come in and direct some scenes. It was really incredible to watch. It was very cool.
So cool. And she has such a knack for working with actors and helping them find that roadmap to the story that needs to be told.
Yeah.
And she was there in that capacity on that and on that particular project. And she's just so good with people, and she has such an amazing heart. And it's all about God. And she is such a great example of that. And if that project takes wings and I'm a part of it,
great.
I'm gonna be loving it. And,
that's right.
We talk about what are our gifts or whatever. And if I could say that, if you would have asked me after the Kendricks have been when I say they've changed my life in a number of ways. But one of the ways that they've changed it is they have changed the way I walk onto a set. They have changed me from being, hey, what am I doing? What do I need to be? They've changed it from being here. It's about a job. It's about aiming a lens. It's about, keeping focus. It is about framing a shot. Is it about telling a story visually? They have turned it into, it is about serving other people. And my job is they've converted my viewpoint to being, I am there to serve the DP and to serve the director. And I show up, and then my job is to gain their trust and to do what they ask me to do, be the best camera operator I can be for them. So when they want my 2 cents worth, that I can be a good person to give that to them and earn that trust for them to allow me to put my 2 cents in when it's asked for. And it's just such a great opportunity. And all I want to do is be diligent and passionate and joyful on the set every day, and look around me and see people on the set that need something, and to be doing my job, but looking around and say, hey, that person's not being themselves today. What's up with them? And to go say, hey, what's up? How are you? What's going on? What can I be doing for you? It's about other people. It's not about us.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Something
that I have always, it took me a long time to figure out, Dave, you just love going to work every day. What is it? What is it about what you do? beside the things that I mentioned about what I've taken away from working on Kendrick sets is, and how I try to take that sponge on a Kendrick set and take that and then just sprinkle that other places. And if everybody on a Kendrick set could go do that, sets all across the world would be better places. But what I love so much about what I do, and whether it's doing a movie, whether it's doing a commercial, whether it's doing something industrial, whether it's shooting an interview, whether it's whatever, the diversity of my job has been the absolute joy, the passion of what I do.
Oh,
that
awesome.
Tomorrow I may get, and we haven't even gotten into the whole workshop element stuff. The fact that I get a chance to do what I love, and then from the workshop perspective, and from now I try to incorporate it into my work, is giving back to other people, giving back to other camera operators, camera department people, whether it's SteadiCam stuff, whether it's just daily how we do our jobs. It's the diversity of the work. I am super unbelievably grateful for and blessed to be able to do a number of different things by being able to kind of ride that fence between the broadcast side and the film side.
Yeah.
And God has just given me incredible opportunities and incredible people that he's put in my path. And I couldn't be more grateful.
God is good. I
Amen.
love that. Well, let's talk about it. Tell us about the workshops that you do.
When I started doing SteadiCam, I'm dating myself again. 1997. I knew very quickly, when anybody who goes to one of these workshops, you either go into it and you leave the workshop on day 3, day 5, whatever the length of the workshop is. And you either had a bug for this and you are eaten up with it and you are like, this is what I'm doing. Or you go, oh, that was cool. It's good to have that skill. Moving on. Next.
Yeah.
And it bit me. And I knew right off the bat that SteadiCam was my passion, because it takes all the aesthetics of regular camera operating and the physicality of growing up trying to be an athlete, and taking those skills and blending those things together of physically moving the camera in space. And Garrett Brown, the inventor, is an amazing guy. And one of a couple of my favorite things he says, he calls himself a moving camera junkie. And if that's the case, I'm a moving he's the inventor. I would be a moving camera junkie disciple, I guess.
That's right.
But I love it. And it's given me a great opportunity to learn. And a couple of years in, I started doing demos and things for local colleges and schools and things and groups. And then I went back to Garrett and I said, hey, I would love to learn how to do this and learn how to teach better, how to instruct better. And I told him about my passion and what I wanted to do and how can I learn better. And he explained the pathway to me and how to get in with what they were doing. And then as we were leaving, he looked at me as he was walking me out to the car and he said, don't ask for something, because someday you just might get it. And I was like, what? Literally 6 months later, they were doing the next workshop, and evidently one of their instructors had gotten a feature opportunity or an opportunity to do something that was crossing over that, and they allowed me to come back and join the team as to learn how to do that better.
Wow.
And that was 2002. Yeah. And it took my passion level from here to here, just because I was learning so much, not just about the act of doing the job, but all of the backstory things, all of the tips, all the tricks, all the little things that help you get a shot on take 3 as opposed to take 12.
Yeah.
And being able to give those things back to younger operators who want to learn it was something that I just wanted to do. And that led to, since 2002, being with them on their staff. So that's a couple of years ago. And that led to working at a place called Asbury, which is a workshop that we've been doing now for 18 years. This is our 18th year at Asbury. And Asbury is an amazing former college, now university, and that's over the 18 years. And they have an amazing staff of people there and a great opportunity. Their broadcasting and film department has gone boom, 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 boom over the years. And there are the main guy, Jim Owens. I was working at the Tiffin SteadiCam booth at a convention, and this guy, Jim Owens, walks into the booth and says, "Hey, you sold me a SteadiCam," to the sales guy. "You sold me a SteadiCam to let my students learn on and to use at the school 4 years ago. Well, all those students are now graduated. I need somebody to come back and teach them again." Well, that was 18 years ago. And we are still going back every year and getting an opportunity. And the guy named Don Mink, you got Jim Owens, the main guy, you got Don Mink, right? Their department is so cool. It's not only led by great people, and they have a great building and great things that they have at their fingertips, gear at their, but they have a cool program that Jim has gotten them into that he takes. I mean, I think he has an Olympic connection, and I think this year when they went to I think they took well over 100 students from the school to go work at the Olympics. I mean, it is unbelievable. Gosh. It is crazy. And it just keeps going. And it's an amazing, Asbury University, I cannot say enough about them. It's just a great group of people. So awesome little campus tucked away just south of Lexington and Wilmore, Kentucky. It's just a great place. And it's been a blessing for us to go back and do it so many years in a row. And it's great. It's one of my favorite weeks of the year.
Oh, I love that. That is so incredible.
Giving back.
Yeah. Well, how can people get in touch with you or follow you on the social media if you're on it?
Well, as you may have already looked.
Yeah, we've already figured that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not I am not a, hey, look at this cool stuff. People joke with me. People will joke with me and they say, "Hey, I saw something you posted. It's the first thing in about 8 months.
Yeah.
You a little bit behind, bro." I don't do a lot. I mean, my Instagram thing is like I think it's David Svenson, just flat out David Svenson.
Okay.
Our company website is carolinaproductions.com.
That's perfect.
But all that is it's exactly when somebody says, "Hey, I need to look at your reel and I need to know what gear you have." You can go on this website.
That's right. That's the best way to do it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
But
that's about it. But I have been so blessed to, so much of what we do as freelancers is building relationships and then playing off those relationships every day. Yeah. So I don't do a lot of knocking on doors, just because I've been fortunate enough to have some opportunities from great people.
Once you build that team,
it's been really fun.
Once you build that team, you don't have to knock on doors anymore. Sometimes in your 20s, you got to knock on doors.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah. I'm just saying. But I knock on doors too.
That's true. No, I hear you.
Just because you're 52, you're not knocking on doors.
I hear you.
I'm knocking every day, you know.
That's right. Well, it was so wonderful to get to talk to you, and you've been such a light in my life this year, and I'm so glad that we got to meet and that God crossed our paths, and I'm just so grateful that you said yes to being on our podcast. Amen. And you were such a wonderful guest, and we're so excited for all the things you've got coming up, and I have no doubt that we will work together again in the future. I'm so excited for that.
Well, I hope so. And thanks for letting me be a part of the team here today, and to be able to be involved in something so cool as talking about gifts and how to use them. And it's a crazy blessing. And I just could not be, God gets all the glory, because I wouldn't be able to do any of it without him.
Amen.
Awesome.
Oh, I love that. Well, have a great rest of your day, and we're so grateful for your time.
See ya.
Thank you. Talk to you soon.
For more information on Project Brickworks, visit us online at projectbrickworks.org. Subscribe to our newsletter or text BRICK to 55498 to get the latest news and updates. We love y'all. Be blessed, and we'll see you next time.